This method takes you through the 5 easy steps to make dreadlocks in the comfort of your own home. There's loads of different techniques and methods out there, but they're actually all essentially doing the same thing. We're taking a section of hair, teasing it up, and then condensing it using the crocheting and or palm roll method. We actually call this a backcomb crochet method. Anyone can master it, and it really produces a beautiful, tight, healthy dreadlock. So there's a few different tools you need to get your hands on when you start dread making. You need a crochet hook, a comb, a splicer comb is perfect, sectioning, clips, and rubber bands. Check out our starter kit. It includes all those tools as well as products which prepare the hair and help make that locking and knotting process so much easier. Plus you'll have plenty of product left over for ongoing maintenance, and they really help fast track your dreadlocks to maturity. So step 1 is preparation, and it is the easiest step of them all because you need clean hair before you dread. The cleaner the hair, the better it will dread. Use a residue-free deep cleansing shampoo. The Dread Empire Classic Shampoo in the starter kit is perfect. Shampoo your hair the day before dread day, and if you have a lot of product build-up or you tend to have an oily scalp, you might want to consider shampooing your hair like 2 or 3 times in that week leading up to D-Day. Step number 2 is sectioning. So this is actually a really important part of dreadlocking because you're laying the foundation for your dreadlocks. You're dictating the placement of the dreads, and also the sections will dictate the size of the dreads. We recommend that you use sections which are about 2 to 3 centimeters or an inch square at the scalp. Use the pintail comb to get nice clean divisions between each section and lay the sections in a brick pattern so that you're maximizing the scalp coverage. If you have a part at the top of your head that you want to maintain, just keep that in mind and lay the sections either side of that. So once you've sectioned, it's now a good time to use a locking and tightening product. We have a Dread Empire Accelerator in the starter kit. It's a sea salt based spray. And if you've ever taken a dip in the ocean, you'll know how that salt water tends to really texturize and makes your hair knotty. This does the same thing, so it just makes that dreading process so much easier. We're up to step 3, which is backcombing. If you've got the starter kit, you'll have this little pot of powder. It's called dread dust. It's a fine white powder that texturizes hair when you're combing and backcombing and starting to form those knots. This will make it so much easier and quicker. You only need a small amount, so either sprinkle it directly onto the hair carefully or put some onto a hard surface and press your fingertips in it and then apply it to the hair that way. So backcombing is just a matter of teasing up the hair with that comb. So to hold one section of hair in your hand and then use a comb to stroke upwards towards the head. Just let a few hairs move towards the head at any one time. You don't want to let too much go because you want to keep this fairly even and keep those knots that you're forming fairly compact. You can actually go back over the same section a few different times. Go from the back, from the sides to make sure it's nice and even. If you've turned that hair into a big, fluffy, watered mess, then you are on point. That's exactly what we need right now. This is where we recommend a quick palm roll because you will start to condense that big, fluffy wad of hair into the beginnings of a dreadlock, but you also will be stretching it out a little bit so you're minimizing some of that length that you will lose. Now, when you first start palm rolling, it will kind of squish between your hands like a pancake, but just try and put enough friction and force so that it starts to roll into the shape of a dreadlock. So it's crochet time now. The real fun begins, and this is absolutely the most labor intensive part of dreading. So take your time and don't stress too much about your technique or how you're holding the hook, because you need to kind of work out a way to hold the hook that suits you and that you're comfortable with. And it won't be long until you get your groove and you speed up during this process. So think of the crochet step as having 2 parts. The first part is working your way down the length. I'm pushing the hook in and out on a slight downwards angle, and I'm being quite rigorous in my movements to further condense the hair in order for the dreadlock to start taking shape. Take care here because these small needles are sharp and stab wounds whilst dread making are not uncommon. You can actually put tape on your thumb and forefinger on the opposite hand to protect them. The second part involves going back over the dread, and this time I'm being a bit more careful and intentional about the hair I'm grabbing from the opposing side and pulling into the dread. So rather than just pulling it and releasing it, I'm staying a little longer. I'm pushing that hook back and forth, front to back. This is really going to help the locking happening within the dread. The fingers holding the dread also play an important part. I need to rotate that dread as I work my way down it to make sure all sides are being crocheted, but I can also feel the pressure of the hook and where it's moving inside the dread. I can feel where the dread is firming up and becoming quite compact, and likewise I can feel where it's a bit loose and puffy and may need more crocheting. So from this point forward, now it's just a matter of repeating this process through each section of hair. There's no denying it, it is tedious. Take your time. Some people even make their dreadlocks over a matter of days. And if you do feel like the process and the technique is really difficult at first, honestly, it does get easier. After your first, second or third dread, I'm sure you'll find your groove and you'll find out what works for you. The real dreading doesn't actually begin until the dreadlock starts to mature. This is the foundation work. Providing you followed these steps and you did really good, nice, clean sections, you can't go wrong from here. So just take your time and enjoy the process. And in our final step, we're going to touch on palm rolling and a few of the things you can do moving forward for maintenance. So step 5 is palm rolling, but we're also going to cover a few of the ongoing maintenance things moving forward too. So palm rolling, I'm sure you already know by now, it's just a matter of grabbing a dreadlock, rubbing it between the palms of your hands, applying downward pressure at the same time. That downward pressure helps to stretch out the dreadlock because you will find that they do tend to thicken and shrink with maturity, so that's a way of minimizing that. It's also a good way to apply our tightening gel, which comes with a starter kit. It's an aloe vera based gel that just smooths down loose hairs and it encourages locking and knotting. So shampooing, we recommend holding off for a week or two if you can. Don't compromise the health of your scalp though. The buildup of scalp oils can lead to irritation and dandruff and fungal infections, things like that. So just make sure that in your mission to get dreadlocks, you're not affecting the health of your scalp. When you do shampoo, it's going to feel like sometimes you're going backwards because the dreads might get loose and fluffy. You might need to pull out a crochet hook and pull some of those loose hairs back in. The use of the Dread Empire Accelerator or a locking and tightening spray will be really helpful to encourage that ongoing locking and tightening. And that's really about it. How much maintenance you dedicate to your dreadlocks will depend on the look you're going for, how neat and tidy you want, and how easy your hair is to dread. For more information about ongoing maintenance, problem solving, different techniques you can use on your dreadlocks, head to www.dreadlocks.com.au.